Go.
Hi, this is Rachel at Silvertop Stables. I was asked by a bunch of my students to make some easy at-home to watch videos during the pandemic. I know a lot of us are stuck at home, not able to take lessons. So a lot of people were collaborating, thinking this would be a good idea and a way to get some horse fix and to maybe do some supplemental education while you're away from the barn. So the first course that we're going to work on today is safe mounting. If you're a student here at Silvertop, and particularly my student, you know that safety is always #1 priority. And so from the get-go, as soon as we put that foot into our stirrup, and sometimes even before we put our foot into our stirrup, we have to start considering the safety of our ride and the safety of our horse and those around us. Judging the safety of your ride actually begins back at the barn while you're grooming. When you get your horse out of the field, you need to be able to have enough horse sense to kind of judge the horse's personality that day. Are they even-tempered that day? Are they standing in the cross ties still and respectful? Or are they kind of on alert? Ears up, eyes bulging out of their head, spooking at every little thing. When I'm getting my horses ready, I can kind of gauge how my ride is going to be in those first moments with my horse while I'm grooming them and while I'm tacking them up. The walk down to the barn and into the barn and getting ready, get your equipment situated to mount is also very important. The first thing that I always look at is the mounting block itself. I want to make sure that the mounting block is in a safe place in the arena. Some of you may have fixed mounting blocks in your arena. You might have mounting blocks that are attached to the wall or are too heavy to move. Here at Silvertop, we have the portable pick up, put in your horse trailer, move it to this ring, move it to that ring type of mounting blocks. And so sometimes the mounting blocks get moved to places that may not be all that safe. The ground might be uneven, the footing might be uneven, and the mounting block might have a little wobble to it. There might be equipment, lunge lines, lead ropes, halters around or on the mounting block. All of that is possible trip hazards. You could trip on it, and even more importantly, and possibly even more severe of a concern is that your horse get tangled up in it as they mount, or as you mount into the saddle. So safety at the mounting block, making sure that the mounting block is in a good place, there's nothing around it that could become a cause of safety concern. As far as the actual mounting process, quite often I get people in, training horses in, and one of the requests of the owners is that I wish my horse stood better at the mounting block. And so I want to go through some quick little, and it's really easy, quick little things that you can look at to ensure that your horse is really good at the mounting block, that they accept the rider's weight calmly, and that they don't walk off. So our specimen here, this is Lola. Lola is a very young horse. She's a 3-year-old Welsh cross pony that is here for training. Lola came to us approximately 60 days ago. She's owned by a client of ours whose daughter takes lessons, and the owner decided to get Lola for her daughter as a birthday surprise. But Lola needed a little bit of finishing up training, so she came into our full training program here. When I bring a horse, any horse, whether it's young or old, trained or not trained, to the mounting block, the very first thing is we always mount on the left. You can kind of cross over. After your horse is really good at mounting on the left, you can cross over and start to teach your horse to mount on the right. I like to spice it up like that after a little while. So we're not quite doing a right-sided mounting on Lola just yet. But some of my more seasoned horses, I'll spice it up now and then, and I'll mount from the right. What this is teaching them and simulating is to accept the rider's weight from both sides. If you're ever out on the trail, and for some reason you have to mount on the right-hand side, whatever case that might be, You don't want to wait till then to introduce your horse to mounting on the right side of their body. So anyway, I'm going to bring Lola into the mounting block, and I'm going to kind of guide her in, one hand on either side of the bit, and great for editing. We're going to bring her into the mounting block, and the number one thing I want to watch for is her two front legs, okay? That is my big goal, to make sure that her two front legs are square. Now, if I could get all four legs square, that'd be even better, but at least the two front legs square. They don't necessarily have to be absolutely perfect, but the more close to square that I can get them, the better. The reason is this: to ask the horse to accept the rider's weight. If her legs are splayed out, okay, if she's not standing square, and she then is asked to accept the rider's weight, what usually tends to happen is that leg that's behind wants to step up to kind of catch the rider's weight. In that moment, your horse can then very easily take the very next step forward, and then you're creating the problem of the horse walking off as they accept the rider's weight. If we have a nice square stance with the front legs at a minimum, the horse is nice and square, they're able to accept the rider's weight, and there's no need to lean forward or step forward to kind of catch up with the rider's weight as they sit into the saddle. So that's our number one thing that I really make sure that we're careful of. After I make sure that our mounting site is safe, is I make sure the front legs are nice and square. Our next process is reins over the head, stirrups are pulled down, already making sure that the girth is tight and ready to accept that step into the saddle. Here is something I see quite often. People will step up here, hold the front of the saddle, maybe hold the back of the saddle, and they're going to pull themselves into the saddle with both hands. This can create a problem over time. By pulling on the pommel or the front of the English saddle, I can end up, over time, causing a twist in my saddle. Also, this is a very narrow section on the horse's back. So when I pull, I'm putting a lot of strain on that immediate section of the horse's back. So what we teach our students here is that one hand can go to the back of the saddle, and the other one should come up here onto the neck. And so now, therefore, when I pull, I'm not twisting my saddle, and I've spaced out the area that I'm pulling into as I mount. Therefore, it's not a condensed area onto the horse's back, it's now spread out. I can use another body part to help support my mount. The other problem that I see quite often, and this is a safety concern, is that the reins are not gathered, or what we call here pinched. In the moment that I step my foot into the saddle and swing my other leg over, anything could happen. A tractor outside could backfire, a horse in the stall on the other side of the wall could kick the door, make a loud bang, a bird could flap up in the rafters. In that moment, my horse could spook and jolt out in front of me. I wouldn't blame them. Something scary, something loud happened. But in that moment, if I needed to say, whoa, slow down, I've got to bring my reins this far. Vice versa, if I gather my reins, pinch them, hold onto the mane like we talked about, and now if one of those things happen, I can very easily tell my horse to whoa and stop. Okay? So we want to make sure that those reins are gathered and pinched. We want to make sure we're holding the mane and the back of the saddle. My final tip is very often overlooked by a lot of people, a lot of barns And what it is when I put my foot into the stirrup, whether it's an English stirrup or a Western stirrup or a combination like an Australian stock saddle, I want to make sure that I turn my toe forward. This is another cause for why horses might walk away from the mounting block as they are mounted. If I don't turn my toe forward, now my toe's a little low on Lola because she's obviously a pony and small, but if I don't turn that toe forward, what I'm going to end up doing is jab her in the ribs. You can see as I'm doing it, she's already kind of moving. She doesn't like it. Most horses don't. I'm jabbing her in the ribs and they find that uncomfortable, and so they're going to fluctuate and move. If I do the thing that I talked about and I turn my toe forward, step into the saddle, holding that toe forward, I don't ever jab her, causing her the need to feel that she needs to move forward and move away from the mounting block. My last tip of the day for safe mounting and teaching a horse to be a good mounted at the mounting block, how to have good manners and behave, is that when you do mount your horse, don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to sit in the saddle and start to ride. Sometimes on the training horses that I have, we just sit here for a few minutes and we wait. Sometimes, instead of walking forwards, we walk backwards. Sometimes, instead of walking forwards, we yield away from the mounting block. The point is that when the horse is at the mounting block, they never quite know exactly what they're going to be asked to do next, so they're waiting for the cue. Instead of assuming that the cue is going to be go forward, it could be go back, it could be go sideways, or we could sit here for 20 minutes and just enjoy each other's company. She can take a nap. And as you can see, 3-year-old Lola, after 60 days, really nice horse to mount, very calm at the mounting block. She's willing to stand here and wait for the next cue, whatever I might ask her to do. In this case, we're just going to walk off. Thank you. I hope this gave you some insight into how to create a willing partner, a calm partner, and a good horse at the mounting block.